Have you guys ever been on a weird date? Or do you have a friend who's been on a weird date? Like creepy, weird? I want to hear about it. I really, really do. I don't really have, honestly. I never really dated, to be honest. I hated any type of dating. But the one date that I've said was a little weird was, I remember for the first date, he was like, oh, you should come over, this and that. And then I, like, just to go for a walk around the neighborhood and then come over and watch a movie. And it was during the day. It wasn't like this Netflix and chill. I swear. But I remember I went, and for some reason I thought he didn't live with his parents at the time, but I was like, whatever, who cares? He did. And his mother was like a part of our date once I got back to his home. And it was just really weird because I was just like meeting your mother on the first time I'm meeting you. And it was just I was just not prepared for it. I was not prepared for it. Anyways, that's all I got. But let me know yours. Before we get into it, I am not gonna forget this time. I promise we're hopping on the hydration station. Water in my cup. What's in yours? I hope you're having a good day. Close call. But the lip gloss is protected. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. I don't know why. I just thought of that. There's no explanation. She casually informed me. What word is that? Apropos of nothing. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever seen this word in my entire life. That she practices, oh my god, that she practices giving BJs, we'll say, on tampons. She offered to demonstrate. I said no thanks, but she did anyways. The entire restaurant stared at us. There was not a second. I'm sorry, what? Out of all things you could practice on, not that I'm encouraging it, but of all things you could, why that? And I don't think we needed to share that one with the class. I really don't. I think we could have kept that to ourselves. And then to top it all off, you're at a restaurant. When you whip it out and start showing your rehearsal, I would have to leave. There's no way you're finishing that. You would have to leave. You can't finish that date. I met a girl for a drink and had two with her. She wanted to take me for a ride in her loaner BMW. It was raining. 5 minutes later, she put it into a concrete barrier going 100 miles per hour and got arrested for a DUI. I had to get a ride home from the cops. Well then, I'm glad you guys are okay, first and foremost. I'm glad no one was hurt. However, why would you get in the car? I'm not blaming you by any means. I'm not blaming you. I am just curious, like, if you're going out for drinks and she's drinking in front of you, why would you be like, yeah, let's go for a drive? That doesn't sound like a good idea. I went on a date where he told me he didn't want to talk. He just wanted to look at me. I would hate that. He was serious. I couldn't make it through a drink. When my date went to the restroom, I went to grab the bill to wrap things up quickly. You're kidding. He was serious. Like, you just sat there with him staring at you. That's my biggest nightmare. I have a really hard problem with eye contact, and people who know me would back that up. I don't know what it is. Like, even with like close friends and stuff, I'm not good at it. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, why are you looking at me? Back when I was religious, I was on a religious dating app, matched with a guy and made plans for a date. The day comes and he tells me he got called into work and had to reschedule, or he could bring me along since work involves a lot of driving through a pretty town nearby. All right, I like car rides and didn't want to cancel, so I agreed. You could have been kidnapped, actually. He picked me up and told me about his work, cleaning portable toilets. We drove to this new suburban neighborhood they're building, and the date consists of the following: us driving and talking for 2 minutes, then me sitting alone in the truck while he hops out to clean the toilet, then repeat. We barely got to spend any time together, and then as he drove me home, he was telling me about his social justice warrior brother, and that was the last straw for me. The guy was nice enough, but man, you know what? See, I'm trying, and I'm like, you know what? He just really wanted to hang out with you. And he's like, hey, all I'm gonna do is drive around and clean these toilets. She might as well join me so I can not cancel and we can hang out, get to know each other on a first date. Oh my god. Yeah, like on a first date, I feel like you don't know that person, so you can't tell like if this is just genuine and nice or if you're a serial killer, you know? Because you don't know them yet. Always assume serial killer. Everyone's a serial killer until proven innocent. When I first moved to New York, a place with about 1 million great spot dates. Spot dates. That's a new one. A place with about 1 million great date spots, a guy took me to Best Buy. We were supposed to have dinner, but he wanted to buy a camera stand, and apparently our date was the perfect time.
This mind is capable of advanced multitasking.
We were in there for about an hour. He also referred to himself as a psychopath. Told ya. To make matters worse, to this day I get a laugh out of telling the story of the man known as Best Buy Guy. Think you can wait to get your camera stand, and if you can't, then maybe just reschedule the date. If I lived in New York and I asked someone on a date, oh my god, I would plan the cutest thing ever. Central Park? Are you kidding me? Cutest date idea. Simple, free, lots of people in public, because remember, assume everyone's a serial killer. That's what I would do. Times Square, they've got a Krispy Kreme. We can go grab some donuts and coffee and then walk to the park. Oh! Can you tell I miss New York?
Kind of.
I love New York. I love New York. I matched online with a drummer from a local band I liked. I'd been to a couple of shows and house parties where he played. I really thought it was fate because he liked me first. We walked along the beach to a pub and talked about his hobbies other than the band. He mentioned that he's really into anime and is starting to learn some martial arts. Totally fine. I'm a nerd too in a different way. To prove that he's getting really good with ninjutsu, he starts doing rolls in the sand and he's screeching, "Hi-ya!" as he does the rolls. Yes, multiple rolls. When he got up, he excitedly asked me what I thought. I was honestly so taken aback I couldn't answer. He took this opportunity of my silence to then just lean into my face and kiss me. Not the move, brother. Like, dude, we haven't even reached our first destination yet. The date just kept getting worse. When he was driving me home, he kept mentioning that I was too tense and tried to poorly massage my neck while failing to steer straight with his other hand. At drop-off, he jokingly locked the passenger door as I was grabbing the door handle. These stories are really just proving my point, honestly. My face could never allow me to just shrug that off. If someone was doing that, I truly couldn't just be like, haha, that was great, and like laugh it off. You guys, like, if this man is rolling and screeching hi-ya and doing all this, I can't hide that. Like, I'm not faking it, being like, my body wouldn't allow it. It truly wouldn't. We met at a hotel bar, both in town on business. Oh, that's like the story plot in a rom-com. We hit it off and walked across the street for dinner and drinks. 10 minutes in, he was FaceTiming his children to introduce me. Oh, that is the only date I've ever truly run away from. I went to the bathroom and walked right out the front door. Absolutely. That's pretty bold. Why would any parent want to introduce their children to someone that they're meeting for the first time? Like, usually a lot of parents are like, I don't want you to meet my children until we're at a certain point in this relationship. Like, this is a stranger to you. How awkward for the kids to be like, hello, stranger, nice to meet you. So awkward. I went on a first date with a guy from some dating app and it was a mess. He showed up at the spot we were meeting in a dirty t-shirt with his dog. Well, the dog could be cute. He then proceeded to leave the dog in his car and make me drive to a bouldering gym. I have a pinched nerve in my neck and my arms go numb if I have them over my head for too long. Not tingly, fully numb. They won't work. And he got mad that I was uncomfortable and unable to do much. Did you guys not talk about the plan for the date beforehand? We then went to a restaurant he liked, tasted like dirt, then asked where I wanted to go for drinks. I named a nice Vietnamese place I had been to before that was down the street. He ignored me and took me to a different bar a couple of blocks further. He then told me he could cure my asthma with oils before proceeding to speak to everyone at the bar but me while we sat outside so he could smoke, and I froze to death in my nice date outfit. I then had to drive him back to the place we met. There was not one good thing about this date. The only good thing was that he showed up with a dog for the first 5 seconds. It's the only happiness I would have had in that entire date. Not a burp, don't worry. Just a yawn. It's actually really late right now for me to be filming. Very late. I started a new job this week. So I work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And it's 8:32 p.m. at the time of this filming. I'm a very tired girl, but that's okay. We had been talking on Tinder for a few weeks and he kept begging to take me out. I finally had the time as I was in grad school and we settled on a painting class. You know, the one where you can bring your own wine or beer. He shows up with a box of Beatbox. A what? An 11.1% ABV hard punch drink. He proceeds to drink most of the alcohol during the 2.5-hour painting class and gets paint on my favorite purse and wants me to go home with him. He was too drunk to have a normal conversation with and definitely too drunk to drive. At the time, Uber was banned from the city due to the mayor wanting to enforce background checks and fingerprints on drivers, and I told him we should call him a cab. I even volunteered to bring him back to his car the next day. Good on you. He went to his car and decided to drive anyways and proceeded to follow me to a coffee shop. I drove there instead of home to be safer and forced him to drink coffee and sit there for a few hours. I blocked him when I left. I do not miss dating. You know what? All props to you. You went above and beyond to be kind to this stranger, to make sure they were safe, even though I'm sure it was annoying and it was immature and you're like, really? You're gonna get behind a car after drinking all that? But you cared about his well-being, and that shows a lot about your character. So good for you. And I mean that. I was on a great first date with a guy. We went to a bar during the day and ordered lunch and a beer each. After many hours of conversation, I thought, wow, this is so great. We walked outside and he had parked far away, so I offered to drive him to his car. Promptly gets in my car, can I even say that? Lowers his pantaloons and starts whacking off. I screamed at him to get out, and that was the end of that. Hold on. How do we go to that? We have a nice lunch, a nice beer, great conversation for hours. We get into the car and you just start slapping the ham. Is that what they call it? Just tugging the sausage? Like, that's sick. How did you get to that point mentally? There's no explanation for that other than they're psycho. I'm telling you, this is why I said if we just assumed he was psycho, this wouldn't surprise us. He told me he was a Navy SEAL in training who was also a fully fledged lawyer, having graduated 2 years early. He also told me he had a blood condition that prevented him from getting drunk, and to prove it, ordered about 15 shots and got wasted in front of me. I left him face down on the table, alerted the bar staff to make sure he was okay, and got out of there. What a dumb plan. Oh, I don't get drunk. I have a blood condition. I can drink as much as I want and I don't feel the effect. Why? Like, why do you have to be this pathological liar? I don't understand. Why lie about it and then, knowing that's not true, take 15 shots? Like, you gotta have an ego thinking like, oh, I can handle my liquor. She wouldn't even know that I'm drunk. I bet I can outdrink a lot of people. One thing about me, I'm not proud of this. I think it had to do with all the training I did in the past, but shots is my thing. I don't like to sip on a drink. Not my thing. I would rather do a shot and be done with it. That's how I am. I don't know why, it's just what I've always done. And the amount of shots I can handle, it's a little disturbing, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't even feel, if I do 5 shots, I'm not exaggerating, I don't even feel it. I take so much alcohol to get drunk, and that's why I don't care to do it anymore. Like, I'm saying to get drunk. I'm not saying I do shots, I don't feel anything. Like, that would be a lie. But yeah, I need a lot of alcohol. A lot of alcohol. A Mickey of Jaeger to myself, no problem. It's not a bragging right? It's actually very disturbing. But I just drank really heavily in my past, and I was always that. I was doing shots of vodka, flavored vodka, and chasing with 4 Loko. That was my pregame to go downtown back in the day. I was an animal. I met the man at one bar for a drink while we waited for our dinner reservation. Then we walked over to the next restaurant for dinner. He told me that I can bring my drink with me. Well, he was wrong. I couldn't. When I got stopped at the front door, he continued out, leaving me behind. I caught up with him at the next restaurant, and we got seated between these 2 other tables that were very close to each other. The ex I just broke up with is sitting diagonally across from me, and we pretended to ignore each other. My date proceeded to flirt with the waitress and talk only about himself. When we got to dessert, he came clean and told me that he is married, and just seeing how dating is in our town, because he was thinking of leaving his wife. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm so glad that I can be the little guinea pig in your experiment. Also, the ex thing, mortifying. How mortifying would that be? You just break up, you and your ex, you go on a first date, they're diagonal from you. That would be a nightmare. Anyways, you guys, I want to hear your stories. Let me know in the comments, okay? I'm out of here. Stay classy out there, stay sassy, and I'll see you tomorrow.